How do? Yes, we are back again on a Monday night. Apologies for last week. We had a few kind of JB. You were work getting in the way of stuff, man. How weird, man.
Yeah.
What's all that
So
about?
sorry.
This is
Sorry, everyone.
this is like party time. And Audrey, it's nice to see you back because you were feeling a little bit under the weather as
I
well.
was.
So
Thank you. It's great to be here.
me and
I'm
Kerry were
not
going to go,
screaming.
but Kerry then said, "Well, I haven't done a single thing in the garden," which I was like, I was surprised at Kerry, I must admit. So
It was because that was the first day of my annual leave. So I've had all last week off. I've got all this week off. So I'm really cracking on. But up until that point, I just been working flat out to kind of get everything done before I went away for 2 weeks from work.
So, well, don't leave it there then, Kerry. What have you been up to?
Well, I have got every pumpkin out. So winter squash, pumpkins, and summer squash are now all out on the plot. And I had to laugh when I was watching your video, JB. And
Yeah, I was going to say.
you were like, I've got these 8 plants. There's no way I could fit 8 plants on my plot.
I
And
meant
here
to
I am
mention
with
in the
50.
video, I meant to mention your plot and the amount that you'd done, and it
Well,
passed me
I
by.
squeezed them into every space that I could find. So the onions and garlic had come out, so they've gone into that bed. I cleared a bed of tree spinach that was all just self-seeded, so they went in there. Anywhere that there were broad beans, radishes that had bolted, lettuce that had bolted, all of those came out, and the squash went in. So that was a pretty big job.
Sure.
How many? How many in the
50.
end?
There's 50. I had 3.
50 squash
Uh,
plants?
Yeah.
Kerry, you're not going. There's no even vegan. Even the biggest vegan from where you live is not going to eat 50 squash.
Oh, my word.
I feel like not all of them will probably make it anyway. And I had 47 out, and I got 3 spares for like if things fail, I'll pop those in. And then I was just like, oh, what the hell? Let's just get those in too. So they are stuffed in every little inch that I could find.
Wow.
So are these dwarf?
I'm in shock. I'm in shock.
They were
There
just.
are some that I know are more sort of compact plants, like the mashed potato squash. That's pretty compact.
Yeah.
A butterbush, things like those. They stay pretty small. So where I was like sticking them in and there was quite a lot going on already, I thought that's a good spot for those. But others, yeah, I got crown prince. I've got the coconut. I mean, I've got probably about 20 varieties that have gone out. I needed to count those up, but yeah.
Wow.
Some have grown vertically, so I've got those down. I've got probably about 18 now that are along the arches, so they all go up. But
Well, it's
They
funny.
will go up with a lot of help. Because they don't like it. That's not their natural growth habit.
it's a good point, Audrey, because I am using jute netting that I used the previous year, so it's had a year's wear on it. But I don't know. I'm just going for it. If it turns into an absolute mass jungle, then I'm all here. I'm all for it. Anyway,
Well, those are pretty too, though.
yeah,
Sometimes when a garden is just lushes.
yeah,
But wow, that's a lot of vines.
yeah.
Are you going
Lot
to
of-
be trying to prune them, Kerry?
Yeah.
No, you're just going to let them go. But, yeah.
Because it's bad enough trying to prune the 70 tomatoes. I'm going to have a massive rethink for next year because it's just been so excessive this year. I don't know quite what I was thinking. but-
It's funny, Kerry, because I was just the other day doing a video and I was walking past my bed, and Audrey, I dedicated to you this. There was one bed that was like 3 foot, I think, by 8 foot, and when I actually planted them in, there was 4 red cabbages in this bed, and they looked like, like just lost in this bed.
Sure.
Now it's smothered in, and that's just 4, not
I know.
50. Not 50, 4. You know
I
what I mean?
know.
So it's just
You've really become a believer.
Audrey. It is the way.
A dig-in believer.
Now-
I still don't know what happened, but okay.
Well, I've got the land now. You know what I mean? So
Well,
you
I'm
know,
thinking
I
you
could just
could
do
use,
it anywhere.
you could use
Yeah.
40 squash in that
Yeah.
size.
Oh,
Yeah.
even I would struggle, mind you, to get 40 squash in. You know what I mean?
That would suppress the weeds, though. You
I
could do
know.
that,
I
yeah.
know. I
But
think
you'd have
Charlie
to dig down
Dowden.
a few feet to get to the dirt.
Oh, it's still we're
Right?
still thinking ahead of that. You know, we're thinking how that is going to work, but it's just playing. You know what I mean?
It'll work. It'll be great.
So, Kerry, getting back to the sorry, Kerry, is all the tomatoes and everything done as well? Everything
Yep.
done, right?
All the tomatoes are out, all the brassicas are out. I've just been down this morning, and because we have at last had rain, so to think I put all those pumpkins out in that solid ground. It took ages to dig all the holes, had to water all the holes, wait for the water to penetrate, then put compost in, water that. And yeah, it was a big job. And now, of course, I go down today and the spade just goes straight into the soil. It's lovely. Anyway, I had 2 globe artichokes that were left to put out. So they went out, and I've been concentrating on clearing the back of the plot, which had turned into a real dumping area. So I just created a new bed at the back of there. I don't know if you've seen, I have a bed. So it's a bed made out of a bed frame.
Very good.
It's still got the ends on it and everything. So I like it. Other people aren't so keen. And I've put that behind the greenhouse at the back of the plot, and I had some spare soil and stuff. So I've spent soil. So I've just topped that up, and I put the last of the brassicas in there this morning. So that is pretty much it. Everything out. And I did a water on Saturday morning before the rain came Sunday, typical. And it took me 2.5 hours to water
I was just going to ask
everything.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
How big is your plot?
It is. Oh, I can't remember now. Is it 24 meters by... no, I can't remember. I've probably got it written down somewhere.
Okay, what is
It's
a big
not
plot?
huge, though, Audrey. It's not huge.
Did you know? I forgot to mention this on the video. If you look on Google Maps and you click on your plot on say an edge, and then right click, it'll come up measure distance. So you drag it
Oh, that's clever.
around the edges.
Wow, look at that.
Dot. You know what I mean? And then it'll tell you the square. That's how I found out mine's 360, the combined 360 odd meters squared. So it tells you the actual size of that.
I did measure it all when I first got the new plot. I had measured it all. It's in the new plot.
And
video.
when you measured it, Kerry, did you think I'm going to put 50 squash in here? There's plenty of room in there for that.
No,
No,
I did at the
I don't think you
time.
did.
I think it's just because I got so few squash last year because they all got eaten by slugs. I think I ended up with 3 fruits at the end of the year, and I'd planted, done from seed, a lot of pumpkins last year. In fact, there were 3 stages. There were the mice ate the seeds, the slugs ate the plants, and then it was so wet that they just weren't growing and there wasn't enough warmth. So they really did not have any luck. So I was determined this year to have squash, and I became probably a little bit too determined.
Mind you, Kerry, when you say, I've not really seen slugs at all.
No.
You know what I mean? They're all.
Yeah, I've just been clearing this back of the plot where all the rubbish is, and that's where all the snails have been. I found them all, and I feel like now I've unleashed them, and they're going to just be like, right, where are we going next? Oh, look at those pumpkins.
So what does a vegan do about when you see a snail?
I pick them up and I put them in the compost heap, and then they can start their journey back. Yeah.
Wow.
We've got plenty of slugs. I was doing a bit of clearance on Sunday in the rain, and the rain just brings them all out. It's like, oh no, there were some proper fat ones, and plenty of them. Seen them by the dozen. So yeah.
And are your
just kind of
okay, JB? Because you
Pardon?
are your squash okay? Because you divided them when they were
they all look fine. One or two are a little they're looking a little sorry for themselves, but they look okay. And the ones that I repotted and are in the greenhouse are just fine. They bounce back surprisingly well, actually. I thought they might be goners because they're quite mature plants to be splitting, but no, they all seem okay. Touch wood.
I'm going to find
So far,
space
so good.
for them.
Yeah, yeah. Not so much of a struggle as you've had, I'm sure.
Audrey, how are you then? Because, like I say, if you were like a little bit under the weather last week, was there nothing
Yes.
done, or was there anything done, or in the garden?
Yes, we last week? No, because Shalmar was also on vacation, which I couldn't believe. She took an entire week off. Okay, anyway, it's another problem. So today we're harvesting garlic. Don't know, it's one of those like harvesting potatoes. So what are you gonna get? You don't know until you pull it out. I think we have a zucchini or two, which shocked because they only went in like 2 weeks ago, but they were pretty big plants, so I think they were dying to do something. Our peas are about done, so we're doing kind of a final picking on those, and my Kalima beans are starting to produce beans.
Oh,
So yummy.
them ones
Very-
I planted, Audrey, they've all come up, mind you, so I'm just waiting. You know what I mean?
I just kind of can't wait. So I don't even care if they're really tiny. We're gonna pick a couple today.
Yeah, they're nice. They're
Because
nice
then
when they're young.
they're even only better, right? If they're really tender and small. So you kind of can't lose with that.
So your peas, Audrey, say if they're coming to the end, are you going to rip them out and put something else in its place?
Absolutely.
Toot sharp? Toot sweet? Is it toot sharp, toot sweet? Toot sweet? Oh.
Toots. I don't know what you're.
Must be a northern thing. Like quickly.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought it was a variety of vegetable you were talking about.
I did too. I'm like, I've not heard of that one. Oh, toot sweet. If you want me to do it really fast, yeah. Because they're really circling the bowl, so to speak. So time to let them.
What are you going to put in then? In that bed?
I think I'm going to plant some more beans.
All right.
But I want to plant some pole varieties because they're right next to a trellis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
So I think maybe pole yellow beans, which I planted last year and hadn't planted them for years. And they were very good. So I think I might do the yellow wax bean.
Will you cut off the stem, or will you pull the root out as well? I'm not sure. Has peas got the little nodules on them, the nitrogen?
Yep,
So
it's a legume. Yep.
Will you leave your roots in, is what I'm trying to waffle on and say here.
Absolutely, if that's possible. I try to leave roots in of almost
Me
everything
too.
except brassicas. Because their roots just seem to always cause problems. So, I try to leave as many roots in as possible. It makes
Some of my
it
lettuce.
easier.
Yeah.
And you don't
Some
get
of my
dirt
lettuce this
all
year
over you.
have had like gigantic stems like this, so I
Yeah.
can't really leave those in the bed. They've got to come out.
Everything all right on your side then, JB? The plot all?
Yeah, it's all good. I had a bit of a last week. The weather was just like it's starting to get a bit grey, and it was nice. It felt like it sort of gave me permission to just like chill out towards the tail end, like the second half of the week. So I haven't been doing too much last week at all. Which is kind of on theme for this year, really, isn't it? It's been definitely a very relaxed year in the garden for me. But I was up there Sunday, just tidying up. Basically, didn't take the camera up. I just sort of went, let's just like look around and tidy and move stuff around and like gather every like spare pot from all the different corners of the allotment where they've been scattered, and like a little bit of weeding, chucked around a lot of wood chip, that sort of thing. Just really nice. Get your head down, and then before you know it, 5 hours have passed, and the allotment's looking much tidier. And it's nice, and everything is where it's meant to be, on the right shelves and in the right place in the shed. And it was just like unbelievably satisfying. It's really, really good.
You got a really nice eggplant too.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, a few
Yeah.
nice little harvests as well. The courgettes are producing. So I'm on I've picked like my 7th or 8th courgette, which is just like,
Wow.
it's honestly so good after last year. Every time I see one, I'm just so happy. Cucumbers are just on the verge of starting now. I've got one plant. I bought a grafted plant and put it in the polytunnel, and it was okay but it wasn't thriving. But just the last 2 weeks, it's like rocketed away. It's just about to hit the roof of the polytunnel, and on every single, leaf branch, you can just see a little cucumber like this, and they're proper beasts. I've had one off it, but it's very exciting, very exciting. And yeah, the aubergine that I had, beautiful, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Supermarket quality, and
Yeah.
that one's from a grafted plant too, and it's got about like a dozen other flowers on it. It's in a quad grow. First time I've ever really like. I'm pretty lazy with aubergines, so anytime I do them from seed, they don't get the love they need. And actually, yeah, buying one from a garden centre seems to have been the answer for me. So it's a little bit of a cheat when I say it's like my first proper aubergine that I've ever grown, but it still counts. Still counts.
It's funny, JB, when I seen yours, that kind of made me realise that mine are flowering, but there's no fruits coming. And I've heard a few folks say this, like down through the years, you know what I mean? Oh, I've had loads of flowers, but no. And I've got 3, and they're all there together, but not a bloody one. You know what I mean? And
interesting.
Mine have had like aphid trouble still going.
Yeah.
Still going on.
Do you think your polytunnel might be a bit hot as well? Or do you think it's okay?
I think it probably could be anything, JB. Do you know what I mean? Because I want to show you something as well. I'm having trouble with me tomatoes now.
Oh.
Well, not trouble. I know that's almost like a thumbnail title, you know what I mean? Like kind of title. No, wait, I'll see if I can put. I'm getting, and I think you tell us what I think it is. You tell us what you think it is. I'll just show you. So most of me tomatoes are going. Now this looks lovely, but it's not meant to be orangey on the top. It's meant to be all red. You know what I mean? And that's different varieties. Have you seen there? I know that might not look different varieties, but they're all different varieties. But they've all got this almost like sunset. That's probably the best one. Now, I asked ChatGTP, and again, it comes up with like hot, but it also, a couple of like sites were saying like a potassium shortage. Now, I've been doing all the fancy kind of feeds and everything like that. But it did say give like a little seaweed feed. Well, I've got seaweed concentrate up there, so I have done that. But I don't know if anyone's actually seen that happening. I mean, like I said, I've had tomatoes. Tomatoes are coming. They taste like a tomato, but they're not meant to look like that. You know what I mean? So
right.
There you
interesting.
go.
You can see on the label. In that picture on the bottom left, you can see the label shows it all meant to be like fully red.
Fully red.
It's quite interesting. I've never seen that. Are you sure that your ratios are correct for the old quad grow feed?
Well, I mean, it's funny because I asked again. I went through, but I got confirmation actually from Mark. Our Mark that's on there that I was mixing it right. But so I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It actually said to one of the kind of paragraphs it was coming up with was saying stop and start with Tomarite. So, and yet
definitely not as good as the quad grow stuff.
I've got tomatoes down here, which are just normal looking. You know what I mean? So there's obviously something going on in there, but it does get hot. But I've never shut the door in the polytunnel for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I asked because I thought your tomatoes were looking like it's quite hot in the tunnel. They do all look like they're
I'm
straining a tiny bit. We've had some really hot weather.
wondering though, JB, it'd be interesting to find. Do you ever grow tomatoes in your quad grows or your auto pots?
Do you know what? Every year I say I'll do a tomato in an auto pot as a comparison this year, and then I kind of forget. So no, I have never done them in my auto pots, but I have done quad grows. I have done tomatoes in quad grows many times over the years, and we always have a quad grow in the back garden outside that we do one in. and generally they've looked happy and healthy. But I've never done them in the polytunnel, and the polytunnel does get a bit warmer.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Whereas my greenhouse, I think it's a bit better ventilated. I've always got the auto vents and the louver vent and the door open. I just don't think it gets quite as hot.
I might do like an experiment next year, like maybe lift one of them black plastics and do, because I want to just do chilies on the proper chili growers, like Ian kindly sent down, which are a little aversion. But I've got probably 9 pots for chilies, and then I'm thinking, I wonder if I should keep tomatoes in one side and do tomatoes in the other side, but the old-fashioned way, the way I used to do with the plant pots, and dig into the ground.
Yeah.
Just to see, because who knows? Then you've got to go up every day and bloody water. That's the bug.
Not
there.
if you get a solar irrigation kit like me, so that's my shortcut. Seems to be working really well this year. I have had to turn it. I had it on for 30 minutes every day. I've just turned it down, so it only does every 2 days now, because I'm actually a little bit worried it's overwatering them. But it's a bit of trial and error, trying to figure it out.
I love the idea of solar, mind you. Like, just free electric is just fantastic, you know what I mean?
So can I ask a question about the peppers? And I've heard this, I think, from JB a few times, that you put them in the smallest pot you can put them in, or you keep them in a smaller pot? I don't know. Is it trying to keep them stressed?
No, so it all depends about sort of... I think what you might be talking about there is how I generally advise to pot up quite often. Maybe potting up once a month. You don't want to constrain it too much. You can, if you want to force it to have early fruits. I've spoken about that quite a lot as well. So if you're starting quite late, if you're starting a plant in March or April, then aiming for a small pot, finishing it in a 2-liter pot is quite a good idea, because if you put it in a 5 or a 10-liter pot, then at the end of the season, you'll just have a load of leaves, and it won't have had time to progress through to the fruiting stage.
So they need to be a little bit root bound to produce?
Yeah, I think generally with a pot, what you want is for the roots to have filled out the pot completely, and then you can start to kind of feed it with your tomato style feed, like a fruiting feed, to make it start producing the fruits.
Because I've never grown them in pots.
Yeah, well, that's all I've grown them in
the ground.
Yeah, if you can put them in the ground and get good results, then that's fine. You don't need to worry about any of it. You just need to worry about potting it up at the right time and not constraining it too much before you pot it out. Because then if you constrain it too much and then you plant it out, it might have already started fruiting.
Yeah.
And then it will get a bit confused. So it really depends on what your final...
We don't want confused peppers.
No.
We want peppers that are afraid on.
We want them to know what they're doing. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because I was thinking about, I'd never put them in pots.
No, if you're growing in the ground, then you want to avoid getting them pot bound or too constrained.
Okay.
I'd say.
Okay, thank you. I was just kind of wondering about that.
It's bizarre you're saying that, Audrey, because that would be so alien to me to put them in the ground. Do you know what I mean? Especially over here, you know what I mean? Like, to plant them outside in the ground as well, they would just not be happy at all. Do you know what I mean?
I think growing in the ground in the UK is really challenging because they need warm soil. So if you're in a nice raised bed and the soil is warming up in the raised bed, which it will do compared to just growing in the ground, they're probably going to get a much better chance. But when I put some in, even in the polytunnel where the soil warms up really nice, last year I put 2 or 3 peppers in and they were not happy. They pretty much gave me a couple of chilies and then died. But that's, I've spent 5 years kind of doing them in pots and learning about how to do it in pots and following Chili Chump, who does it in pots for the most part. So growing in the ground is a whole different kettle of fish for me.
Yeah.
I've got my sweet peppers in the ground in the greenhouse. But I took Audrey's advice from the last time we spoke, which was to take any small fruits off. You were saying about people who've got these lovely big peppers on their plants and they're still little plants. And
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of people have said to me, I'm following Audrey's advice and been taking them off. So I did that, and they're looking okay. They haven't put on an enormous amount of growth yet, but
At least they have a chance to.
yeah, and there's still time. Got another heat wave due now as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, still plenty of time. I can't believe this year is the first year I've properly focused on pulling flowers from my chilies, and it has made such a big difference. It's the first year I've really had to, because they are a little behind where they would normally be, and yeah, in the few weeks after I properly was deflowering them, they were like shot up. They've tripled in size, looking really, really strong. So I definitely recommend it.
Mine's the opposite, JB. Mine's just... I think mine had somehow got knocked beforehand.
Yeah. Yours do look like they've had a setback earlier on.
I mean, you can see new foliage coming now, but I think the aphids just knocked the hell out of them. Do you know what I mean? So now the aphids have went on to me garnet tomatoes. So it's like, for God's sake, man. You know what I mean? But I was talking to a couple of the allotment things and around me, and they're having trouble as well. Aphids. So,
onto your garlic tomatoes. What are those?
Garnet. Remember Jesse said garnet tomatoes?
I'm growing garnet this year too. So.
Oh right. Oh,
okay.
Have to see.
Anxious to see how that.
I grew them last year as well, and they were lovely. I really like those. They were one of the top of the taste test.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I've not got them this year. I'm missing out.
It was Jess when she was saying, "Oh, gardener's delight." Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you want to try garnet. So they were the ones that I kind of sown when I just come back from hospital. But I tell you what's looking nice though, my black strawberry ones are starting to, because they look like big vigorous bush, but like just lots of like little flowers on everywhere, but nothing really happening. And all of a sudden you turn your back and then you look again and there's some nice big strawberry ones on there.
They are such good producers.
They're really good producers. I did those last year as well, and very impressive, very pretty, but they were pretty much bottom of the taste test.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, I had exactly the same experience, I'm afraid.
I think I put them in the category,
but only because there were so many, and I thought I could use them for sauce.
Yeah.
Well, and I also thought last year was such a blah year with tomatoes. I was not judging anything last year on taste.
True.
Because they all struggled. But I'll be sad if that's one of the bad ones. Because
I did them the year before last.
And still, okay.
Yeah. It might be a climate thing. They might just not like the UK climate as much compared to across the pond, Audrey.
The bought ones of the Sun Gold, my Sun Gold, but they were bought. They just do not taste like the Sun Gold I sowed a couple of years ago and had, you know what I mean? They're not splitting, so there's a clue straight away. They're not splitting, and they're just. I don't know if it's because I lost my taste a little while ago, and it's still not like 100%. So maybe I'm not getting the full taste, but they're just too not. They don't even. The shape's a little bit odd as well. You know what I mean? It's almost like a weird little bell shape. So, but the labels, because I got a few of them, so they're all like that. So I don't know because I know there is a one. Is there a one called Orange Crush or something Crush? That's vague. Did you once send some over, Audrey, that were equivalent to a?
No, I think I would have sent you Sun.
I can't remember.
No, it's not Sun.
Tim's Taste of Paradise. You sent
Sugar
over.
Spot.
Which
was
one?
It Sugar Spot or Sugar?
Sugar.
Yeah, it was Sugar something.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that.
And I didn't like those as much. I didn't mind that.
So you sent them over to us to try.
No, because you were struggling with Sun Golds. So, and you had a problem with them splitting. And these didn't split.
What was them ones you once sent over to me and Steve, and they just like produced millions of yellow tomatoes, but they weren't very nice tasting.
Oh yeah, those were. Oh my gosh, it produced so many.
God,
and everybody wants to go home, and I'm like, they taste like water. Oh God, I have to think.
I can't remember.
Got to go through the Rolodex. Just a sec. Yeah, those are
I
bad.
mean, they're quite impressive. The actual, like the.
Oh, they're stunning. But they're kind of like that orange accordion.
Yes.
Really impressive looking tomato. Not worth the taste. I mean, they're just not good.
That was another one you sent over.
And I prefaced it by saying I've never grown these.
It's funny I didn't get to actually saw the Paul Robeson one, so that would have been a book. I'd like to have had that one in
Really?
the arsenal, as they say.
So you're not growing those this year?
No, well, I missed out, didn't I? I was stuck in bloody getting things, needles up my backside and everything, man.
Needles up my backside. Oh, that just sounds good. Okay.
Not again, doctor. Oh.
I'm so sorry.
JB.
Hello.
On WhatsApp, and I wasn't, because it was too late when I read it last night and I was tired. What was your idea about me path on this allotment?
Oh, yeah.
So,
isn't this the first potty that we've had since you've taken on that allotment?
Probably,
we haven't actually chatted about it on the show.
So
but
folks can see, my idea is to kind of, well, it's hard to see.
Got it in the background.
That's the hut that's gonna go, and I was thinking of like putting a path along that wall and then down the left-hand side.
Yeah, what I was thinking is just because you were talking about, maybe digging it out and trying to flatten it, and you're a bit worried about, the footings of the wall there and that kind of stuff. I was thinking maybe if you scrape it back, and if it's still super lumpy bumpy, you could just put in a bit of timber. And
what do you mean? What do you mean? Put in a bit of timber? Just live flat wood?
Like like an upright bit of wood, probably with some stakes for support. Sort of like you were building a veg bed, but then chuck a load of wood chip in it, and then just bring the level up. So you put wood chip up, and then you've got a bit of wood along the side, like a retaining, bit of timber to just hold the wood chip, and then you haven't got to faff around digging or like properly trying to level, or digging and finding nasty stuff under there or anything like that. You just chuck a load of wood chip on, and it will flatten itself out. It's nice and easy for the oldies to walk on, and it will look nice and attractive as well. Maybe it would save you a bit of work. I don't know. Putting in a bit of timber with a stake might be a little bit of work. It depends.
So you're having the path go around the edge of the plot now, because people have been walking straight across, haven't they?
Yes, like a diagonal from the right-hand side of the hut to the left-hand bottom. There's and there's only, I'm going to say 3 or 4 people. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like, but it's just, that's the way the path's gone, because no one uses another path. So the reason why I was thinking of putting a path round is because it's going to stop us either putting beds there, because I don't mind people walking through. That's not to stop them, but it's just, it will hinder me having a bed or having something there, because if there's still a path diagonally. So hence, put a path around the edge, you know what I mean? But that's a good point, JB. Just like put like a bit of boarding up, like a foot high or half a foot high kind of thing around that edge, fill it with stuff. Then I don't have to kind of dig that out as much. But then I still like the idea of getting a digger.
Oh, well, I mean, a digger for the rest of the plot isn't a terrible idea. And if you're getting one anyway, then yeah.
But it's just, it's fun to do it now. Do you know what I mean? When I'm just kind of playing, but there's some of the brambles things.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when you said you're taking it on. I was like, wow, he's just done it. Well, I just saw the video.
I've always kind of walked past it and been like a smart arse and said, "This is what I'd do."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just never thought you would actually look at it and go, "Yeah, I could take that on."
You know what I mean? And now I'm having to eat my words and say, "Well, right, I'll have to do something." You know what I mean? But the idea is to take that fence down where my beds are, and make it one, and do stuff that I wouldn't normally grow. This is, I'm going in that direction first, but
yeah.
I was so surprised that you'd got your plot now so easy, and like you were like totally on top of it, you know, you really figured it out sort of thing, and then you just double your space and there's a whole massive job to do.
But that's, Kerry, this is where this, like, doing, because I love doing YouTube videos as much as I love gardening. So there's not that much to show. You know what I mean? Like, how often, like, you'd run out of, like, you know, like, this is how you sow a carrot. Me and Mark talked about this on Wednesday. You know, how many times you want to do a video where, you know, where if you could see us up on the top of that hut with a chainsaw, that's quite good. Do you know what I mean? So,
all for the content.
yes, you've got content. So, and it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just, I want to get stuck into something, because it's just like, my plot there now, I've realised, you know, if you actually just do it, you know, I've been growing up times what JB just said there, without a camera, you get on top of it, it's kind of done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, I've went up today and I've watered a couple of lettuces that I planted and that, and there's nothing else to do. What do I, you know what I mean? So all I've got to do now is just look to the left and I see a whole load to do. So
Plenty to do, yeah.
Oh.
No,
So
it's
JB,
brilliant when you get to that
it's
point.
the 26th. Just check your diary now, live. Can we just check your diary? Are you free?
Is this for your trip? Yeah. I was...
And I know exactly how far that drive is. Like,
Well,
we don't need to, it's doable.
How long did I would love to see JB? I had this kind of, I woke up one silly morning, you know, and I was thinking like a video ahead, and I said, I was looking at the camera, and then I would say, you know, I've got this like little grass cutter, but it wasn't any good. But I've got this digger, and then I would the digger, but I couldn't find a driver. But then I've got the next best, and I would flick the U, and you're standing there. And I thought that would be fab. So, how long did it take you, JB, to get to Steve's? Because I'm kind of level with Steve, but on the other side of the England.
I can't remember, to be honest. It was a long time.
Did you stay? Because you would have had to took down a polytunnel.
Oh, yeah.
You stayed a night, did you?
Yeah. 2, I think.
I was going to say, you guys almost spent a week, didn't you? I'm kidding,
it was
JB.
2.
You didn't.
A week?
You didn't almost stay a week.
No, it wasn't a week, but
I'm just kidding.
It was a fair old... I think it might have just been 2 nights. I think we drove up, stayed that night, tried to get it all done in one day, and stayed that night, and then came home the next day. It was definitely it was a lot. It's about 6 hours, I think, give or take. 6 hours with good traffic. So maybe 7 or 8.
I know.
With, you know, real time.
With roundabouts.
Yeah.
It's B roads.
Oh my gosh.
We were watching Audrey. We were watching this documentary the other day on. It was like the biggest ocean liner in the world, and it just like, for me, that's just not what I would like. You know what I mean? The passengers were walking onto this brand new ship. I think it's actually probably a year old now. The documentary, but they were getting cheered and clapped by the staff as you walked on. You know, like, hey, you're gonna have a party, and I was like, that's the most for me. Yeah. I just could not do. You know what I mean?
Well, and what we were on was not a cruise ship. Mm-hmm. It was not a cruise ship, so it was not like
cruise.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't. So there was not, you know, they're partying until 5 a.m, and everybody's puking into trash cans as they're trying to find their room. I mean, I've heard horror stories from cruises. So I don't think Kevin or I would be at all interested in just like doing a carnival cruise or something. So, yeah, and they've got some of these boats that are so enormous now.
Huge thing.
It's just, it's like a floating city.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, wow, that's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. So, no, we liked our little Brit ship. It was very nice.
So, what's happening in your garden that you're pleased with? Because It's been a good year. Your dad's done most of the work, so it's been a good year.
He did like one weekend. No, yeah. What's been really nice this year is where it has all been a bit more relaxed. I've been sort of getting my arse in gear in the kitchen a bit more and like making sure that I'm using it all. And I've got into making jam. Like basically, I've realised that a lot of the things that I didn't enjoy about like cooking and preserving was like the organising it up front. You know, like going through the cupboards and trying to find the right jars, and then like you realize you don't have any lids for the glass jar that you've just cleaned and sterilized. And you're just, oh. Well, last Christmas, like at the end of the tomato season, I standardized everything. I bought a load of like, one size jar with 63 millimeter lids that will fit on all different kinds of jars for canning, basically. And I just did the same with like a little jam jar. So I bought like 40 little jam jars, and now it's a doddle. I know where they all are. I had a little harvest of blackberries the other day, and I was sort of looking at them like, oh, that's not what do I do with this? I made one jar of jam. Just one. I always think of it as like this big thing that you only ever do when you've got, you know, like 2 kilograms of fruit to use. I just kind of bunged it in the pan, bit of sugar. I ordered a 500-gram thing of pectin, so I don't have to buy any expensive jam sugar. You just 1-to-1 with sugar, a bit of pectin until it goes all nice, and bung it in a nice clean jar. I was like, this is a revelation. Anytime I get like a bit of fruit that I don't know what to do with, just make some jam. It takes like half an hour max.
Have you used your cherries up? What did you do?
No, they are still in the freezer, actually.
Right.
I haven't made. I was kind of planning on making some jam or something with those, but I want to do maybe like half of them with jam, because once I had them all like de-stoned, I weighed them and there's about 900 grams there, so nearly a kilo of like just cherry like fruit. And I was looking at it like, oh, that's not that much. I expected it to be more, but then you realize they're sold with the stone in, right? Like, which is like quite a significant proportion of their weight. So yeah, I was really happy with that, but I haven't used them yet. But yeah, no, just having all of that like canning equipment there ready to go. It's like it's changed my life. I pickled a load of beetroot and it was just there. I was just like, oh, bung it in the air fryer for a bit while I'm making some jam, and then, you know, process it all up. Nice hot vinegar. I feel like a new man. It's lovely. I love it. It's really good. It feels so easy. That's the thing. It always felt like such a faff before, and now we've got a bit more space. Like we bought a little side unit in the kitchen to like store it all. It's great. I love it.
We made, when I say made the royal way, my son made some beetroot chocolate cake. Oh my God, it was gorgeous, man.
It
was like vegan.
Incredible.
It was, well, I don't know how, it must have been vegan, I don't know. But there was no flour anyways. It was like a nut flour or something, but oh man. Actually,
it looked very good.
It was, honestly, it was just like, wow.
I tried to make one of those a few years ago, and it was quite a complicated recipe. I don't think it was vegan. I think it was one of those where you have to whisk up the egg whites and then like fold it in, so you get a nice, like, it's quite a lot of steps for someone like me who's not a real kitchen lover. Anyway, got to the end, tasted it, and was like, this is not right. I realized I just completely left out the sugar. I just made the cake and completely forgotten the sugar and created this like slab of horrible beetroot cake. It's just like the worst thing I'd ever tasted. Oh, dear me. But I'm glad yours was nice too.
No,
sounds much better.
Lovely. Like I said, Jimmy, we're honestly doing exactly the same thing. It's, it's just like bringing it down. My son's prepping it and doing it. It's getting used, so it's not going straight back on the compost. So the cucumbers are coming in thick and fast now, and we're just pickling them as they come.
That recipe you shared looked really nice.
Lovely.
I want to try that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love it. Reed says he thinks there was a bit too much. What's the orange spice?
Turmeric. Yeah.
I would half the turmeric quantity, but I love it. I had it today with eggs, 2 vegetarian sausages, 2 eggs, 2 cauliflower hash browns, and then a good spoonful of these cucumber relish, whatever you call it, pickled. Yes, lovely.
Just I always love it when you're in a video.
Call me Audrey of the garden now, the cook of the garden. You know what I mean?
How's the rhubarb wine looking, JB?
Yeah. Oh my god, as well. That's the other thing. So I finally, do you know, I was, I think I mentioned this in a video, but we were on a work trip to the Isle of Wight the other day, and for the drinks after, one of the guys, he's really big into brewing, makes like so much cider and beer, everything, every country wine, and he bought some blackberry wine, and it was delicious. And I was like, you know, I'm finally going to do it. I'm finally going to start brewing something, because I've been saying like I don't need another hobby. You know what I mean? Like I'm terrified of starting brewing stuff and taking up the house with loads more equipment and stuff. But I did it, and the 8 kilograms of rhubarb that I had in the freezer, I was like, right, you're going into wine, and yeah, it's had its first. It got chopped up, lots of sugar. I'm following a recipe from Lovely Greens. And it had its first primary fermentation just in sort of like a bucket, basically, for 5 days, where it just goes like crazy. And then, yeah, on the weekend, I decanted it into, well, I gave it its first racking into some demijohns. But it's retained a really nice, like, pink color. The one that Tanya made from Lovely Greens, hers is like clear. It's like, it looks like white wine when it's finished. But mine is like bright pink. I must have used like a lot of redder stems, and I was really hoping it would be a bit more pink, but it looks amazing. It looks so tasty. But yeah, it's in.
What's the actual rhubarb? What name is it?
The variety.
Yes.
I have absolutely no idea.
I knew
Tony.
you were going to say that.
Yeah, no idea. It was on the plot when I took it on.
Right.
So it's a insanely vigorous plant. And this year I just kept harvesting it. Quite often it will get to sort of, you know, the middle of June. I'm like, I don't need any more rhubarb. But this year I've just been like, yeah, if it's gonna produce, I'll just take it. And it's been nice having so much. But yeah, a lot of rhubarb jam in the house. And I was like, I don't know what to do with 8 kilos. So wine seemed like a good idea.
Did Tanya say what strength it gets to? Does it?
Yeah, I mean, it will kind of resolve out to like between 10 to 14. You know, like
Right.
So it's wine for sure. I haven't researched it as much as I normally would. You know, normally with something like this, I like to basically like read a book about it, you know, watch 10 videos, try and understand as much as possible. This one I was a bit more slapdash. You know, I feel like I know the basics of kind of fermenting stuff, but what I didn't realize about alcohol is that when you're brewing your own, for the alcohol reading, you need to take a reading before the fermentation, you know, with a hydrometer, and afterwards, and then calculate the difference with like quite a complex thing, right? I don't think you can just pop a hydrometer in once it's finished and get a percentage alcohol reading.
Look at that
Question
bad
mark?
boy.
Yeah, there they are. Look at the
Look at
colour. They look so good, don't they?
They're just fab, JB, to be honest.
Really photogenic.
There's quite a bit there, mind, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
So much. There's so much. Yeah. I had to use like every single pan in the kitchen when I was like getting all the liquid out of the stewed rhubarb. It was quite alarming. I was like, oh no. But yeah, they're 5 litres each, so that's 10 litres.
Has it? When you're like, you boil it down. Do you boil it down with sugar or something and water or something?
Pretty much, yeah. You put the sugar on the rhubarb to draw all the liquid out of the rhubarb, and then you squeeze the rhubarb out, and you then add like boiled water that is then cooled, basically, and then that's your liquid that you put in your yeast and your yeast food and all that stuff, and yeah, now it will be in those for about 6 weeks. So they're still fermenting. The yeast is still active, and it's doing its thing. I checked it this morning. It's really exciting, seeing little air bubbles going blop blop blop.
And will it lose its colour, JB? Do you think?
I hope not. I think it should clear out a lot. You can see that's quite cloudy, which might be because there's still so much active yeast, or it might just be that there's a bit of pectin in rhubarb, and you can add like clearing agents and that sort of thing, fines and that sort of stuff to try and like remove the sediment or like make it all sink down to the bottom. Or you could just have a cloudy wine at the end of the day. I'm not too fussed about it. I'm not going to be like serving it anywhere. So if it's a bit cloudy, that's fine with me. But yeah, it's really exciting. Like a fun new little experiment. I like it. It's great.
Who would have known you could actually use your produce you grow? Eh?
I just never had so much before that I was like, oh, I need to do something serious with this. But yeah, it's nice. It's definitely one of those things that I think gives you the bug, and you can see yourself like next time you're out walking around getting
So
all the
next year
blackberries.
you're going to start growing hops.
Oh well, maybe not on my current plots. 10 years from now, who knows? Got the hop allotment. That would be good.
Yes, the hops allotment.
People do grow them on their allotments, but
my
you need
allotment
so much
neighbour
other
did.
stuff as well, don't you, for beer, your malt and all that stuff. But yeah, no, it's really fun. I like it. It's still a way away from being drinkable though, so it'll be fermenting. It's secondary fermentation for about 6 weeks. And then you store it and let it age for like 6 months. You've got to wait.
Oh gosh!
All right.
Yeah, with it cleared off for wine. Beer is much quicker. You can make beer in like a month, but yeah, for
Will
the
you
wine,
have a sneaky taste though at 6 weeks?
yeah, definitely.
Oh,
you kind of have to at the end of 6 weeks as well to check the sweetness, make sure that it's all.
So is this your pan
converted.
then, JB, cooking it?
Yeah. That was like me going through every pan. I was trying to find out, and it made a lot of liquid. You can see when it's in the pans, it's like quite dramatic. It's like, oh my god! It pulled out so much liquid from the rhubarb. Basically, it really worked really well.
That's a beautiful color. Oh my
it's
goodness!
so nice, isn't it? I used the apple press that I got to like squeeze every bit of juice out, basically, because I was like, you can just scoop out the solids. But it just felt like a waste. But yeah, squeezing it all out with the press is really why. I think maybe you got a lot more of that color and a lot more liquid as well. But it's more wine at the end of the day. So hopefully it's nice. I mean, that's going to be the trick. Hopefully it's not going to be undrinkable swill. I was talking to...
well, can't you let it go a little further and make it vinegar?
I think...
So it'll be rhubarb wine vinegar?
Yeah, I don't know how vinegar is made, really. It's not just letting it age, is it? Don't you need to like expose it to the air or do something a bit different?
I think. Well, I thought you just let the distillation process keep going.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe if you just don't seal it, it carries on going forever.
Yeah,
Or
I don't
until
know.
it's vinegar.
Never made either, so I think you might need a Scooby. A SCOBY,
Drink your
sorry.
own garden.
Oh,
That's got rhubarb wine in, but the one I got it for was that it's got the mangal wurzel. Oh, there's the rhubarb one. There you go. There's this lovely old book.
It does look an old one, doesn't it?
Yeah, I love those.
I had to sniff it then. It's got the mangal wurzel wine in, so I might try that when my mangal.
No idea what that is.
Yeah, you're going to have to enlighten us there, Kerry.
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
She Grows Veg is selling them this year, the mangal wurzel. It's a cross between, or it's in between a beetroot and a sugar beet. So it's meant to be huge.
They're
sweet.
massive.
Oh, I know what. Yes,
I know, and I've got these next to my pumpkins. They'll be competing for space.
Are these big things you see? I've seen. Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, I've got the big pink ones from her, and I've just sown some of the yellow. I think that's them actually. I've got some seedlings by me here, so they've gone a bit leggy. Yeah,
Cute.
That's the mangal wurzel. So I'm
They're a
gonna
massive
put
beetroot,
more out.
basically. Is
So-
that
Yeah,
right?
but they are meant to be less earthy and sweeter.
Right.
And yeah, Liz Zora makes wine with them, so I was going to have a go at that. But I've never
Nice.
made wine before, and I really did want to do the rhubarb wine this year because we have a huge amount of rhubarb across our 3 plots, but it's just been too busy to do it this year. So I'll see how you get on, and then if it's a success, I'll have a go next
So
year.
you know
Yeah.
what you call mangal wurzel. Is there enough time, Kerry, to get them to that size? Because I know you can plant them and we can get little beetroots that size, but that
Yeah.
will take a while to get.
I think they're fine out over winter though. They'll store in the ground. So the pink ones are in. They've been in for a while. These yellow ones I'll put in for a later harvest.
Just checking me cameras there, me reeling cameras there. The wife's coming back. I think it's time to end the show there. Right, Kerry, where can we find you?
I am Dog on the Plot on Instagram and YouTube.
Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. JB.
You can find me at NaturallyJB on YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon.
Oh, there we go. And the Queen herself, Madam, where can we find you?
You can find me at on Real Food Comes Dirty, YouTube, Instagram, and .com.
Marvelous. There you go. Right. Until next week. Look after
Yes,
yourselves,
sir.
everyone. Take good care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.